Hi, what's up? I'm DJ Sixsmith. You're watching Sit Down. Ben Bailey's here with us. Brand new comedy tour, January 25th, kicking off all around the country. Got Cash Cab on Bravo.
Yeah.
Good time to be Ben Bailey. What's up, man?
What's going on? Yeah, things are good.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm busy in a good way, you know. Got the stand-up tour kicking off on the 25th in Cleveland, of all places. Everyone's like, what are you going to Cleveland in January for?
Let's just start with the worst, coldest spot, and then we'll build it up from there.
Yeah, I'm actually looking forward to Cleveland, man. I've always had good shows there. And I got like a cool VIP invite to get a tour of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Ooh, there you go. And you haven't done that before, right?
I haven't done it before. I've been there for an event once, but I didn't have time to do the tour or anything, so I'm going to go get a VIP tour of that Saturday before, the afternoon before the show. So
that should be pretty sweet. Who are some of your favorite musical artists when you think about it?
Oh man, my musical taste is like varied.
You're all across the board?
Yeah, like I had a phase in high school where I was like nothing but reggae for like
really?
for like 3 years. I was just all reggae.
Wow.
I was just like really deep into reggae. And then I was into Zeppelin, which I still am. I still love Zeppelin. I had when I was like 40, I had this Black Sabbath phase where I just listened to nothing but Sabbath for several years. So. But I also like jazz, I like some classical, a lot of classicals. I like all kinds of music.
Did you have a Springsteen run in there?
Springseen's kind of been in the background throughout. Yeah, I grew up in Jersey, so.
It's kind of a necessary thing.
Yeah, it was the first concert I went to on my own. The first concert I really went to was Mac Davis.
Okay.
When I was a little kid. You probably don't even,
no, I don't even know
who is Mac Davis? But the first one I went to, without parents, was a Bruce Springsteen show.
That's cool.
At Giant Stadium. He played for 4 hours.
Wow.
Plus, it was awesome.
The stamina you have to have for that is just insane.
Yeah, he's still doing it.
Yeah.
He's still doing those super long shows. I was a waiter here in New York once. I waited on Bruce.
Oh, wow. Where was that?
A place called Amici Mie.
Okay.
Now it's called Dos Caminos. It's down on West Broadway and Houston Street. And Bruce Springsteen comes in, and he was like super cool. It was a really very New York experience. I'm like, oh my God, I'm waiting on Bruce Springsteen.
Didn't have any specific dietary issues, nothing.
Not at all, dude. He had a pastrami sandwich and 4 beers and a shot of tequila for lunch. I was like, that is a rock star lunch. Yeah. I said that to him. It's a rock star lunch.
I mean, that's got to be one of your favorite New York stories. I mean, because the Cash Cab thing has always been awesome for you. What are some of your favorite New York City moments when you think about it?
I have so many now because we're literally out on the streets with everybody. With everybody. So it's like everywhere I look, I'm like, oh, I remember. We've done 550 episodes or something now. So it's like every place we're walking, I'm like, oh, I remember when we picked up those people right there. It's like there's one for every spot. I think my favorite one is probably right here in Times Square. We're cruising through, we're doing B-roll stuff, so we're just shooting exteriors of the cab and things, and shots of me driving around, but no contestants or anything. And my buddy Chris Coco was the DP, and he's in a minivan in front of me with the back open.
Right.
And he's got the big camera mounted there, and he's filming me. And we're stuck in traffic cruising through Times Square, and it's packed. And I'm just like, man, nobody's said anything. No one's spotted us yet. And we're just crawling along. And then I see a guy, as soon as I think that, I see a guy go he sees the camera, and I see him look from the camera to see what he's filming, and he goes, and he points and he yells, he goes, it's the Cash Cab! And this wave just went through Times Square. Everybody started cheering.
That's
I put my hand out the window and everybody screamed. I was like, oh man, that's probably one of the best moments of my life.
That's as good as it gets, right? I mean, just
awesome.
The fact that your show, it really became a cultural phenomenon when you think about it. Everybody in Times Square knew it, people around the city. How did it build out to that point where it became such a big thing?
It just, I don't know, man. We did, the first season we didn't do another one for almost a year and a half. So in that time, Discovery Channel we were on back then, it was a weird thing for them. They never had a game show. They never had anything.
It's much different from their other programming.
Yeah. Back then, especially, it was all science and nature, and their talent was like a scientist or a historian.
You're a little different from that.
It was a little different. I'm like their first comedian who was hosting a show for them. But so it took a while, for them to kind of go, okay, this thing's kind of catching on. Literally 0 advertising. It was all just word of mouth. And about 6 months after that first season was out, I started to notice people looking at me. They had a different look in their eye when they would look at me, and I think people are recognizing me, And you know, my friends and everyone was like, "No, come on, dude, whatever. You're
You're
crazy."
taking
you
it
know?
too seriously.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Like, dude, don't get a swelled head or whatever. But then, you know, I'd go out with them and they'd be like, "No, dude, you're right. People are spotting you." And then it just sort of snowballed, you know. And then next thing you know, we made 120 episodes the year after that, and it was like just like night and day. It just changed everything.
That's really awesome.
Yeah, it was cool.
One of the things I was thinking about, because now you're doing it, and obviously there are Ubers and other forms of transportation, but this was like a pre-Uber thing too.
Yeah.
So kind of hit at the right time. You built the audience, and has it changed anything with other means of transportation, or you guys are still able to do what you want to do?
It hasn't really affected us much. I mean, people are still taking yellow cabs in New York. You know, it's still, I think, unless you really want to be in an SUV or some sort of high-end vehicle or whatever, it's still the easiest way to get around above ground in Manhattan.
Right. And it's very New York still. Yeah. Just trying to replicate in another city, it just wouldn't be the same.
I don't think it would fly. I think we'd have to. I mean, maybe there's a couple of cities that could like have the cab traffic. Like San Francisco has a lot of cabs. Chicago has a fair amount. We might be able to get away with it there, but I feel like if we were going to take it on the road, we might want to, you know, team up with Lyft or Uber and.
Right. It would make a little more sense in that department.
Yeah, and be a great way to surprise people too.
Oh, totally.
You know, they would not be expecting that.
Well, I think that's one of the best parts of the show is the element of surprise. You don't know what you're getting into. And then when you see some of these videos with like a celebrity driving an Uber or Lyft, then it's like, okay, you have no idea what's coming up. But that's a cool thing.
Yeah, the surprise that, I mean, in the beginning, people, I'd like hit the button and the music would play and the lights and people would be like,
because they
weren't like, hooray, I'm on a show. They were like,
just
okay.
like, what's up with this?
Yeah.
Right.
I'm like, you're in a game show. They're like, yeah, all right, yeah.
Like, can you just get me to work?
Yeah, either they're like, just drive, or they would just get out, like, okay, crazy cab driver, you know. But yeah, that's changed. Now they just go nuts. The last couple of seasons,
How long did it take for people to go from this is weird to like, oh, we're pumped now, like we know what we're getting into?
I don't know, maybe the third or fourth
So it really
season.
took a couple seasons.
Took a while for everybody to know. And then even I remember, like, you know, season 5, people would get in and they'd be like, what? And we were like, how do you not know?
Like, have you been living under a rock?
Totally. But there were a fair number of people that didn't know, you know. Like, I'm like that. I don't know about
Sure, you're just kind of oblivious. Yeah.
I'm in my own world, you know. I've got a lot of stuff that I'm working on and I focus on that. I don't watch a ton of TV.
Right.
You lose touch.
Yeah.
You really do. And then you're like, I'm sorry, I don't know. I don't know what that show is or that music. I haven't heard it yet or whatever, so.
But you got to keep the comedy fresh, so it's understandable that you're working on that all the time.
I literally live in my own little world, and a lot of that is like where I'm writing jokes, you know. When something hits me strikes me as funny, I jot it down and then keep working on it, and I'm writing other stuff too. I just wrote a screenplay.
Nice.
I've got a web series coming out called Stakeout. It's just like 2 cops perpetually on a stakeout. They're just bored out of their minds. It's just like all about the banter between them.
I mean, people love watching anything police related.
Yeah,
it's true.
Cops, right? It's true, yeah. They love
PD,
cop stuff.
I mean, come on.
This is 2 cops that are bored out of their heads just sitting in a car, you know. But it's fun. It's really fun. I was laughing so hard at the trailer when we were editing it that I was like, okay, this is really good.
And that's a good indicator. If you're laughing, if your friends like it, then usually other people are going to like it too.
Yeah, yeah. And you know, it almost doesn't matter. It's like, it's so about the creation of it for me that it's like you can't even, I feel like you can't look too much into people's reaction to whatever it is.
It's a big deal that you just made it.
Yeah,
it's hard
you
to
got to
make
remember
stuff.
that that's what it's about, is creating it, not about like what people think of it.
Definitely. So how have you evolved as a comedian and just overall, even as a creator the last couple of years in terms of kind of branching out with everything?
I've gotten more comfortable just being me on stage, doing stand-up. Like it used to feel more like, oh, I'm gonna I'll write a bit and then I'll hone it and then I'll deliver it right. Now I feel like I just get to be me talking. So the bits are more like, they're still bits, they're still written and laid out just how I want them to be and everything, but it's more just me being me in a way than it ever was.
Yeah, I'm sure it's more authentic.
It is. It's like, it's, you know, I heard a thing years ago, it takes 10 years for you to be yourself on stage. And I'm in it for like 25, you know, and it's still happening. Yeah, it's still happening. You know, I would have said 10 years ago, oh yeah, I'm very comfortable just being myself, but now it's just even more, you know. And it helps when you know that you have fans out there that like the stuff that you're doing, and then you know, oh, well, I don't have to worry as much about, you know, how it's going to go over. I can just do what I want to do.
Yeah,
which is what it's all supposed to be about at the beginning, you know.
Yeah, and listen, if a certain joke doesn't hit, then you just go to the next show and you keep it going.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, or make a note. Go, I could do something slightly different.
Right, you constantly
there.
have to be tweaking with things.
Yeah,
that's why you need to keep being out in front of live audiences, because you can have a joke in your head, but you don't know how it's going to hit.
Yep.
Even after doing it for 25 years, I'm sure some nights you're like, I got this show, and it doesn't go the way you want. And other nights you're like, this is amazing, right?
Yeah. Did you guys all just get some bad news before I came in? Like, what's wrong?
Or even if like somebody before you bombed and you have to follow after that, or if somebody killed before you, like you can't control those circumstances before or after.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, in theory, it shouldn't matter.
Right.
Right?
Yeah,
you should
in
be able to go into
any
scenario and just crush if you're at that point. For me, it's about where the set is, right? Like it takes a while to create an hour-long stand-up set. It takes a long time.
How long did this one take for you with the new tour?
Geez, the last one I taped, my last special I taped in 16, so about 3 years. Because I haven't done it for I have another new set that's about 20 minutes in, but the set that I'm going to be doing on the tour is probably about 3 years old.
Gotcha.
Took about 3 to get it to where it's a solid hour. Everything fits together. It all flows, and there's no, drop-offs. There's no
right. It's all tied together.
Yeah, it all flows smoothly. Right. It evolves.
Yeah, absolutely. But to bring it back to music, like Springsteen can play his hits for 4 hours. You have to keep coming up with new stuff.
Well, that's an interesting point too, because as I get bigger, so to speak, I'm playing these bigger venues, and I have fans. I'm trying to think about what they want.
Right.
Like, are they going to want? They might want some old joke of mine that they love that I haven't done in years. Like if I went to see a band or a musician,
you'd want to hear that song.
I'd be like, oh, why aren't you playing my favorite thing?
Yeah.
I don't care about your new album.
Right. They're like, cool, we're glad to have you here, but like, no, you became my guy because of this.
Yeah, play the hits. So there's a lot to consider. So I don't know. My plan right now is to do that newer set that's like an hour honed and solid and ready to go to be a new special, but part of me is like, maybe I should do like kind of a greatest hits thing, because otherwise people are, I mean, it's very flattering.
Sure.
People are yelling out bits that they want you to do, but it's like,
right.
I've got it all.
Like I've got it all laid out. It's all mapped out. Like I can't change course.
It's so old. I haven't done that bit in years.
Right. So even just getting back into it, even if you want to do it, it's not easy to just hop right back in.
You can't just dive right into it, especially my stuff. I don't know what you've seen of my stand-up, but it's like it's long. My bits are long and
you
wordy
build it out,
and weird, and it takes a while to get there.
Right.
It's like my bits are anywhere from 3 to like 8 or 9 minutes long.
Yeah, it's
each.
really long in comedy.
So it's like, okay, I'll do that bit you want.
Right, but then I gotta try and think about how I'm gonna rework the rest of the 50 minutes that I had here.
Yeah. And I feel like a show should be a show, right? It shouldn't just be a bit. It should build.
Right.
It should start here and then crescendo so that the end is like you end on a high and that's it. And if you like try to switch it up to accommodate that stuff,
you can't do that.
Makes it much more difficult.
Definitely.
So that's just one of the things to deal with. It's a good problem to have.
Sure.
That people want to hear your old stuff. But.
Yeah. What's the biggest place you've played so far?
I think the biggest venue I did was at a college in Florida. I did an arena. This is a few years ago now. It was like 10,000 kids there or something. Yeah.
And college kids, they're a brutal and honest audience.
They were good though. I was a little worried, but they were good. They were really good. I think that's the biggest I've done now. None of these venues on this current tour are that big.
Yeah, but it's nice having an intimate setting also.
Yeah. I mean, I think they're like 750 to 1,500.
Yeah, no, that's a perfect size.
That's great.
Definitely.
I'm so psyched, man.
Do you have an opener
too
the whole
out
time?
there. I have a couple different guys that I'll bring depending on like geographic location. So
it's nice that you could hook up some other people along the way too. Like, were there people that helped you out that kind of gave you some looks early on?
No.
You were on your own?
There really weren't.
Really?
But I never wanted it. That's a weird thing with me. I don't.
You're not that guy.
I don't want help.
I gotcha.
I want to do it myself, whatever it is, whether it's a sport or writing or performing or whatever it is. I don't want help, and I'm terrible at asking for help. And
is it a control thing, or is it just what's most comfortable for you?
I don't know. Like I just didn't get into this to collaborate.
Right.
To like.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, it is a solo mission when you think about it. Like,
I wanted to just be
just
me.
You.
It's all me.
Right.
You know, maybe I'm just selfish. I don't know.
But you have to be, because who else is going to look out for you? Like,
yeah,
that's the way you got to think about it sometimes.
Yeah, I just want it to be unique. I hardly even watch other comics anymore for that reason.
It's very easy for some of that stuff to blend in. And other comics have gotten in trouble in the past where they've started a joke and they don't realize it's from somebody else.
Yeah.
That's problematic at times.
Sometimes I'll write something and I'll be like, that just came too easily.
Right. Somebody else must have.
It just flowed so easily. I better, you know, call around.
Yeah, you start checking in with people like, have you done this joke before? It's a real thing.
Does this sound familiar?
Yeah.
Is this yours?
Because even if it's not theirs, then they may know it's somebody else's.
Yeah, yeah.
Comedy's a tricky business. Like,
it is.
Give you a lot of credit.
Thank you. It's gotten more tricky because there's more and more comedians.
Yeah.
There's so many, and it seems to be plenty of room for success because a lot of comics are on the rise, and yeah, you can't be too careful. And people are very sensitive about what you say nowadays and everything. Luckily, I write about weird stuff. So.
Right. So I think you're in the clear with this stuff.
I don't have to worry about that much.
Right. Well, that's a good thing.
Yeah, man.
So what can people expect when they check you out on the road? Like, what are some big things you want people to be thinking about when they watch you?
They don't have to bring anything. All they got to do is sit there and listen. I'll do the rest. Just don't interrupt.
Don't get a phone call.
Pay attention. Yeah, don't get a phone call. You have to listen.
Yeah, put your phone away.
Yeah, you have to listen. That's all. That's all they have to do. And then, you know, if all goes according to plan, I'll do the rest, and they'll have a great time. They'll laugh until it hurts.
I like it.
Forget about the parts of their lives that suck.
Yeah, it's nice to have that escape.
That's what it's supposed to be.
Absolutely.
In my mind, a movie or a show, it's all supposed to be.
Yeah, you're paying to come out here.
Take you away somewhere else.
Just
forget about
pause
all
on
that.
everything else.
Yeah, leave all that stuff behind and let me entertain you. That's the whole thing.
Absolutely. Ben, really nice to meet you, man.
Yeah, you too,
Thanks
man.
so much.
You bet.
January 25th, the national tour kicks off in Cleveland. Where can people check you out on social and all that stuff?
I'm Real Ben Bailey across the board on social media. My website is therealbenbailey.com. I have a YouTube channel, Ben Bailey Comedy. There's short films, and that web series is going to be on there. So sign up for that, and a lot of stuff for you guys to check out.
Awesome.
Coming soon.
There you go. For Ben, I'm DJ. See you next time. You're on The Sit Down.